welcome back. I'm Joy, the Detox Coach, and I have a question for you. Why do McDonald's still spend money on billboards? Is it because you don't know who McDonald's is? Clearly, that's not the reason. Even a 3-year-old knows exactly what McDonald's is. So the purpose of them spending money on billboards and advertising is to put you in their psychological habit loop. And what they want you to do is they want you to be literally seduced by the 3 R's of the habit loop. Number 1, the reminder. Number 2, the routine. And number 3, the reward. So what happens is this. Most of your habits throughout the day, probably about half of them, minimum of half of your habits are automatic, or as I like to say, they're automagic. Why are they automagic? Because the brain can relax on anything that is an automatic habit. That means it doesn't have to think anymore. It can use that energy for something else. That's why brushing your teeth is automagic. That's why driving from your house to your job every day is automagic. All the things that you do repetitively is automagic. You don't use a lot of energy and brain power to do it because you've done it so many times that it doesn't require a lot of energy anymore. So what happens is it pushes it to the back of the brain and now it's stored in a file. So McDonald's is using that knowledge to make sure that when you see the sign, the billboard, the magazine article, hear about it on the radio that day on a commercial, that you have what's called a trigger, which is the reminder. And what do you have stored in your box or your file cabinet box on McDonald's? In a lot of cases, you may have happy memories stored, happy emotions stored. I know for me, I remember when I was a kid, when you're in school and you go on a field trip, you stop at McDonald's. So it's this fun activity that's associated with it, okay? So you have all these memories surrounding McDonald's. And if you don't do anything to change what is locked and stored away in your file cabinet of McDonald's, then it will just be an automatic response to that trigger that now causes you to want to go and get McDonald's fries or to get a burger. And you don't even have to think about it that much. It's automatic. You just automatically feel like you want it. You're craving it. And then you get the reward where they have the high fat, high salt. It has the excitotoxins. It has all the stuff locked in there to create a reward, a sense of satisfaction when you eat it, okay? So this is what happens. And it's so interesting because I drive down the street and I'm like, clearly people know that McDonald's is not good for them. Why in the heck is the drive-through of McDonald's still wrapped around the building? I don't care which city in the US you go to and beyond, you will see the drive-through has people wrapped around the freaking building, even though they know that it's unhealthy. And the reason why is because of the fact that they are drawn into that habit loop. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to say, I want to use this habit loop for myself and for my clients so we can use those 3 R's to create the habits that we want in our life. The last example I'll give you is Febreeze. Febreeze, when they first came out, I pretended this is Febreeze because I don't use it. So this is an all-natural spray that I use on my kitchen counters and all that good stuff. And what they did when they came out with Febreeze is originally they made the reward, the last 3 of the habit loop, they made the reward the fact that you'd get rid of odors. That's what they marketed. They spent millions of dollars in marketing that and it was a flop. So they went back and they did some research. And when they did their research, they found out that wasn't a big draw for people because typically if they had an odor in their home, because of the olfactory senses in our nose and our brain attached, it doesn't, after a while, you don't smell it anymore. You don't smell the smell. That's why somebody else could walk in your house and if you have 10 cats and you allow them to use the bathroom on your carpet, after a while, you won't smell that anymore, but someone brand new coming into your home will probably feel like they have to gag. That's why. And so the people were not motivated to buy Febreeze because because of the fact that it killed odors. So what they did is they changed it and they made Febreeze something where the reward would cause you to enjoy the fresh scent after you clean up. So if you look at any Febreeze commercial now, it will no longer mention bad odors. It only mentions, hey, use Febreeze and your house will smell amazing. And they're not gonna tell you about the fact that it's chock full of toxins, and that's another story. But the bottom line is they now are hooking people on that. And guess what happened when they changed that reward to something that the people desired for their house to smell fresh after they cleaned up? When they changed it to that, it became $1 billion in sales per year. Now think about how many bottles of Febreeze they would have to sell. This is under 20 bucks. Think about how many units they would have to sell in order to create $1 billion profit every year on this stuff or on that stuff. Crazy. So the point is, you want to be aware of these tricks that they're using that you can use for yourself, because that's what happened to me. I got mad. I got mad that they were playing these games on me and they were using something that is provable. This is scientific. This is something that will work. Any and every habit that you have, good or bad right now, it is following the pattern of the habit loop. And so you want to be aware of this so these companies cannot capitalize and use you for your lack of knowledge. Until next time, R3 for life.